Hi friends! Today I am really excited to share something with you that I have been working on for a long time. But it is finally done and I've finally launched it, and so today I want to share with you my new ebook. And I'm just going to kind of go through this like I've done in the past before, just to show you what's inside it and kind of what you can expect and if it's something that you might be interested in. I know that not everything that I create is for everybody, but if this is something that you're interested in, I want you to kind of have a feel for what it is ahead of time and see if that's something you think would be helpful for you. A while back I created some bouncy lettering worksheets that were just printable alphabet in like a bouncy lettering style, and I made those because I had so many requests for them. And ever since then I still get so many questions about bouncy lettering, and that seems to be something that people just really struggle with. And so in this workbook, I have tried my best to break it down for you, kind of step by step, and that is actually what took so long, because it is kind of one of those styles that sometimes you don't really think about what you're doing and you just kind of create. And so to break it down into action steps took me a while to kind of figure out. So I'm just going to go through these and show you what is included in here. And these will be linked below. This weekend though, they will be on sale because it's Black Friday and Small Business Saturday and Cyber Monday. So this weekend we are just going to take advantage of the whole weekend full of sales, and these are listed for 25% off in my Etsy shop. So I will leave the link below if you are interested, and let's just get right into it. I've broken down this workbook into 2 different files, and the reason for that is just because the workbook you might only want to print out once, but the worksheets you might want to keep printing over and over for you to be able to keep practicing over and over. And so I just wanted to make it easier for you to just have to print this file a few times and maybe just print this once. So I separated them here to kind of show you an example. You'll get both of the files in the listing. So let's just get right into it, and let's start with the workbook portion first. I'm not going to get like too detailed into it because you won't be able to read it through the camera anyway, and a lot of the portions that are on here are kind of faded out. So as I go through and kind of explain things step by step, there will be like one simple change that we're going to make, and then there's a lot of these faded out type of letters that you can see down here, and those are just traceable for you to kind of go through and practice what we're talking about as we're doing it and as we're talking about it. That's there, like I said, there are extra worksheets in the back, but these are just kind of to get you started. And one thing that you'll notice about this worksheet set is there's 2 different styles. So it's actually like 2 worksheet sets that you get with the prints, because in this workbook we go through 3 different styles of bouncy lettering. One is kind of a more dramatic style, and then the second one is right here, and then we also have a third one that we go through that's kind of a combination between the 2, which is right here. And through this workbook you're really just going to get steps that are going to show you how to break down different things, where you can kind of decide, like right here you'll see 4 different ways to do one thing. So in this workbook it's not really meant to just be like copy and paste and look exactly like the workbook. It's really meant to kind of give you steps to think about and steps to take, and you can kind of mix and match the steps as you want, and you might end up looking totally different than this workbook, but I hope that it gives you some ideas for just how to switch up your lettering and how to take it from kind of what you started learning and kind of take it into a more bouncy lettering style. I'm also thinking about doing a live video this weekend to kind of go through questions that you guys might have. And one question that I'm kind of anticipating is what size pen to use with these, or what pen do you need to use? And I actually grabbed a whole bunch of different ones that I think would probably all be fine for this lettering style. Some of them are a little bit smaller than some of my other worksheets, mainly this style. And so with some of those you might prefer a smaller size pen, or you might even prefer like a calligraphy pen, but it's kind of a middle of the line size, so you should be okay. The only thing that you might struggle with is if you have a really large pen, like if you have a Tombow or if you have a large Crayola marker, you could still use them, but you might just have a hard time if you are really heavy-handed where you like to draw really big. So just keep that in mind. Some of these are a little bit smaller just due to the nature of bouncy lettering. If your letters are too large with bouncy lettering, you're only going to be able to fit like 1 word across each line. So that's kind of part of the lettering style, is trying to shrink our letters down a little bit, unless we're just simply drawing 1 word at a time. So let me go through the practice sheets with you. Like I said, you get 2 different styles with the practice sheets. We start out with this thicker, bigger style. And this is where I'll grab some of the pens and show you what they look like in these worksheets. But you also get this thinner style as well. So the first couple pages are the alphabet. And the reason that I did not do a full page for each letter is just simply because you would have so many pages to print out. My connections worksheets are super, super long, and these include connections as well. So if I were to have done a page for each letter, you would have probably hundreds of pages to print out. So just with that in mind and the fact that these are printable, so if you finish your worksheets, you can just print them out again. I just decided to do one line for each letter. So we have your letters here, and then we also have this second style, which is the thinner style. And then we have the connections worksheets. Now you have connections for both of these. I won't go through every single page, but if you're not familiar with my connections worksheets, it's basically every connection in the English alphabet with lowercase letters. I don't have capital letters here, but as you can see, like this chunk from here is all A's, so it's AA, AB, AC, AD, AE, and so on. And that's why these get really, really long, and that's why I tried to make this as doable as possible, not only with printing, but for you to be able to sit down and actually work through these. So like I said, when you're done, if you want more practice, you can always come back and this file is separate and you can print this out again there by itself. And I might have missed a couple pages as I flip through these, but let me just get on to the next ones. And here we have the next style of connections worksheets. And so you do get both sets of connections worksheets. And the reason why I wanted to do these is because so many people tell me that they really struggle with the formation of bouncy letterings when they're connecting to each other. And so I thought that this would be helpful for you. As you can see, these are several pages. And then we get to some practice words. I kind of themed them out, so you have several words here, as you can see, and again, you have these in both styles. So these are some titles and people and just different ways to practice. Here are some of the commonly used words, the, of, and, to, that. And then we also have the days of the week, the months of the year, and then the seasons and some different things that kind of go along with that theme. And then again, you have the same words, but in this thinner, bouncy lettering style. And lastly, I have included some blank lined paper and then this grid paper, which will make sense when you read through the worksheet, because for some of the specific lettering, we use this instead of the lined paper. And then we also have a larger style, just depending on how you want to use these. So I hope that was helpful for you. I'm so excited to see what you guys think of these. Like I said, I've been working on these for a really long time, and part of that is because there was a lot to create to go into these, and another part of that was just because it really was something new to kind of think of. How on earth do I take one kind of lettering and change it to bouncy lettering? So I hope you guys find this helpful. Like I said, these are going to be on sale for the weekend, so I will leave a link in the description box below if you want to check them out there. And again, if you have any questions, leave them below. And if you would like to see a live video, let me know if you want it to be on Facebook or on Instagram. I'm kind of deciding between the two. But hopefully I'll be able to go live sometime this weekend so that I can help you guys with any questions you might have. And the last thing that I'm going to do is just show you what a couple of these different pens look like in these worksheets. So let's start with the bigger style. This is a color in marker. I use these a lot, and these are really nice. I love these markers. They can be really flexible, so they can get really thick downstrokes depending on how hard you push. And so I'm not pushing super, super hard. One that kind of reminds me of those is the Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen. I really like these as well, but I know a lot of people don't like them, so I think you have kind of a love-or-hate relationship with these. And then here is the Tombow Dual Brush Pen. And then here is the Tombow Fude Pen. So I really think this worksheet set is kind of in between where you are able to use whatever you have. And honestly, these are more about formation of letters, just how we do bouncy lettering. So if you didn't even have a brush pen, you really could just probably use whatever kind of pen you wanted, because we're really trying to get more how to create the bouncy letters versus our brush strokes and things like that. And that was the Zig Brushables. I can't remember if I mentioned that. And here is the Pentel Touch Pen, which is again a smaller size pen. And here is the Crayola Super Tips. So the only thing that I think you might have a little trouble with is the larger Crayola marker, but again, even if you don't have a brush pen, you can still use any type of pen or pencil to practice, because we're really just working on our bounces and the techniques behind that. So let me go back to this page. This is the smaller size, and for these I would recommend a smaller Fude type of pen, or even a dip pen or a calligraphy pen, just because that is really the style of this lettering. That is really the style of this lettering, to have just really thin lines, and so it's going to give it a really different look if you use something large like a Tombow. You can, but I would just recommend something smaller for this portion. And again, even if you just use the bullet tip on here, that would still be totally fine. In the workbook, we do talk a little bit about doing bouncy lettering as a monoline pen, and so you definitely could do it this way as well. So that is all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you guys all so much for supporting my shop and my channel. And thank you all so much for your suggestions and your questions and your comments, because this workbook is truly a representation of the questions that I get and the things that you guys ask all the time. So I really appreciate it, and it really helps me to be able to create things that I hope are helpful for you guys. Again, if you have any questions, please leave them below, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.